right. Well, let's throw out another one here. Sort of continue touching on the business side. I think I've heard some revenue numbers and the different areas of specifics. But what areas of your business, and in your case, organization, have seen the greatest impact, good or bad, or benefit from mobility, and how do you measure it? If it's a matter of measuring benefits and coming up with the metrics to justify further investment, or how do you, where's the impact felt most, and what are you doing about that, and how do you measure it? Anybody want to start with that one? Yeah.
I'll start. So I would say marketing is driving the majority of mobile initiatives right now, because it's a little bit easier, if you wanted to measure ROI from our customers that buy something versus, it's hard to measure productivity, and for internal users, that's what we're trying to increase is productivity. But for our marketing group, we're really in our infancy with it. So our company strategy is to create remarkable experiences, and that's something that you would not expect from a fast food company. But we want those to be remarkable experiences, and I think mobile is going to lead into that or play into that. When you think about, my 3 daughters know nothing except iPods, iPads, and things like that. So they expect to be entertained, they expect to be connected, and these devices are another way to connect with the brand. It's just an interesting time, and you go to the buzzword consumerization. So whether it's the kids that all they know is connectivity, and I've got a 4th grade daughter that they've got a BYOD program. They do some of their training online. I'm old. So they have
gamification
classwork online, whether they're using Khan Academy or Edmodo. So they have an internal Facebook for their class, and that's just the way they communicate. So mobile isn't really this thing. One thing that I'm trying to help my group understand is mobile is not a thing. Some people are thinking, oh, it runs on an iPad, go talk to Jeffrey. Well, mobile to me is the evolution of IT, and it's going to take all of us in IT to evolve our skills. And my old CIO used to have a sign in his office it said change or die, and I agree with that. I mean, if you're not changing, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be the rims. You're going to be the Sony Walkmans. You're going to be the thing that was good at one time, but you got left behind. So I don't want to get left behind. I enjoy the change. But there's some people think that, like I said, that if it's an iPad, get Jeffrey involved. We're looking to put some devices in stores, and it's really, once I learned more about it, they're looking to put iPads, mount them in stores, and the more I learned about it, it's really just, they're wanting a screen, but because it's an iPad, they thought it was mobile. And I didn't know if I was supposed to change my team to the stationary team, because they were going to, instead of mobile, it was going to be a stationary, single application screen. And so if I were to say another solution, you could put for the same price, a smart TV there, does that change the discussion as far as who does the work? Is it the mobile team, or is it just an IT thing? So the point with this is there's a lot of learning, a lot of fun. Yeah. The marketing group is driving most of the change.
So, well, from mobile, again, I'm coming from an infrastructure point of view. We've removed the network connection, the wired network connections from the dorm rooms. We've removed the wired telephones from the dorm rooms. The students prefer cell phones for whatever reason. I guess they can text. You just can't do that with a wired phone. So it's an enabling technology. And to support that, we've gone ahead and doubled the number of access points that are in the dorms. We're talking about doing the same for the hospitals, because from the healthcare side, doctors are doing more and more with tablets these days. Again, it's the mobility, it's the access where you are, wherever you are, to what you need. And so I look at it really as an enabler for improving productivity and improving just the patient care quality, and also from the student standpoint, improving their connectivity so they can get to Facebook and Google and all the other apps.
Yeah, for us it was, we found a guest that we weren't serving. when we really started focusing on mobility, and we weren't serving them well enough, and that was the distressed traveler, right? 50% of our bookings on mobile are same-day bookings, right? Which is that this guy just pretty much, his boss said, get your ass over here to San Francisco, and you got to take care of this. And he lands, he's like, oh, I need a place to stay. So
I guess that was a distressed traveler, right? That's
yeah. So I guess in your scenario, you're a distressed traveler, and that is literally half of my world is those distressed travelers. So mobile allows us to serve those guests, and so we weren't able to do that before, right? And so now we can, and so that's a great opportunity for us to take advantage of that and really serve them because we weren't able to do that. And so that's really been a big driver for us there, and kind of learning that whole world and connecting them to their world there. So mobile allows us to do that kind of stuff that we weren't able to do before, right? So that's
So people are very passionate about their packages. Think about ordering something from whoever. I mean, you're tracking. You want to know when that thing comes in. I mean, you're probably tracking, I think, on average, 4 or 5 times before it gets delivered. So what mobility has done has really enabled everyone to do that. If you're not at home, what do you have on you? Well, you probably have your phone, your smartphone, therefore you can get to the app and you can track the package. And what that has really enabled us to do is introduce a whole new product around it, and that's what we talked about before, UPS My Choice. So just real quick, it is a residential product. When that package is coming to your house, you receive a notification. You can set up to receive different alerts. You receive a notification, you know you're not going to be home. You can go ahead and change the delivery. Maybe you want to deliver to your work address. Maybe you want to deliver to a neighbor. Or maybe you just want to know when it's going to be delivered. So without mobility, you really wouldn't have, or we wouldn't really have those capabilities to give our customers that instant information that is really required today.
And I will say that instant is a great word because it has forced us at IHG to really push a lot on our infrastructure. You know, mobile users expect things immediately. And so if you are still built on your 1999 architecture, you're done for, right? And so mobile really pushes that envelope as much as anything.
All right, so that's all the driver side. Give us a little insight into the greatest challenges you faced for some of these initiatives. Is it budget? Is it technology? The infrastructure? The platforms? Is it user adoption? Where are the biggest challenges you see, either today or coming forward? I'll say another one.
I'm trying not to be the one that dominates a lot of conversation because this is what I do for a living. Is I dominate lots of conversation at work. But like, I do. If anybody has ever hung out with me, you'll know this. Is and quite a large part of you have. One of our biggest challenges right now is being able to serve all of our guests, serve all of these platforms. You have a great idea, and it's. Like we had one at the London Games last year. I don't know if everybody knew or not, but IHG was the provider for the London Games, right? For all the hotels and all the actual Olympic Village for in 2012. And so we piloted something out there, which is that you could use your mobile device to get into your hotel room, right? And it was a huge success, and people loved it. It was great. And then they realized that the only way it worked is you run Android. And so it was in large part of it because it utilizes NFC, and Apple just refuses to put NFC into the device. And so that's one of our biggest challenges. It's like you can have a great idea, and you can certainly see where it can go with it, and then you realize you can't, right? And it's just it'll drive you nuts. So I certainly think that that's probably one of our biggest issues right now. It's nice having it be we're kind of limiting a little bit more to our devices, so we stopped support for BlackBerry this year, so we no longer do that. I apologize for anybody who has a BlackBerry device today. You can't, you can book a hotel room on mobile web, just no app. But it's, we're trying to consolidate instead of trying to have the shotgun approach that you had before. And I think that was the way you attached or went after mobile, say 2010, which was let's shoot for all of them, right? Shotgun, let's hit them all. right? And you weren't very good at all of them. You were okay at all of them. Now it's really the target for us is to be very good at some of them. So, for IHG, we're very good on iPhone. We're very good on Android. We're mediocre on Windows. Apologize to anybody who's got a Windows phone. And then we are god awful at BlackBerry, and I am unapologetic about that.
Tell us what you really think.
Ain't changing my strategy, not for you. So we try to really do that. So I think that's our biggest challenge right now is being able to have that kind of conversation. Because again, going back to the bean counters say is, oh, hit them all, and it's like, I don't really know that works anymore.
All right, super. Anyone else want to talk? Jeff?
I would say the pace of change and the diversity of the landscape is a challenge, but as James was saying, it's hard to commit to something because it takes a while to implement anything, and by the time you implement it, is it still going to be the way to do it? We're in the infancy of mobile, so that's the fun side, but the challenging side. I mentioned earlier, consumerization. When we think of whether it's our users or our store owners, we call operators, they're really driving some of the initiatives that we're doing. They've been wanting to run their point of sale on an iPad for a long time, and they have a hard time understanding why we're not doing it. And we actually are doing it in 60 stores right now. We're rolling it out, but when 2 years ago they go to a food truck and the guy is using an iPad and he uses Square to take a credit card, it's like, how can a food truck do it and you're a multi-billion-dollar business, you can't do it? And the answer is actually in the question. It's because you're a big business, it's actually harder to do it. And that's the IT answer, but that's not the right answer to tell the store owner that cares about his food truck, if you will. So we're trying to figure out how to allow these consumer devices, as people are exposed to more technology, it puts more pressure on IT because the expectations are higher. So we've got to figure out how to where possible, meet those expectations. Sometimes the expectations aren't realistic, but I would say leveraging an iPad in a restaurant, that is realistic. We've got to figure that out. And it shouldn't take 3.5 years after the iPad's released to have it figured out. And so we've got to, as the pace of change happens on the outside, we've got to change on the inside. Our president says when the pace of external change exceeds the pace of internal change, disaster is imminent. And so that's something we've got to take to heart.
Like that don't sound right. All right, Robert.
So we have two challenges, really the same one as James meeting that, all right, the technology hasn't caught up with our ideas yet. We have great ideas, but we present that to our mobile developers and they're like, well, we can't do that yet. What you're saying doesn't exist. Okay, so we need to wait on that. The other challenge is, we're a very large company. We have this many IT resources competing for this much budget. So providing a compelling reason that really stands out, that enables us to develop what we need to develop, and even what we want to develop, is probably one of the biggest challenges, and that is just, we need more resources, and it's a finite budget, finite limit.
Scaling. Growing the
20,000 concurrent users.
yeah, well, that's just the start of it. You mentioned consumerization. The devices, the Apple devices, for instance, with things like AirPlay. AirPlay would make a wonderful technology for a classroom where you can put various videos or whatever on a big screen. The problem is the back-end technology that supports that doesn't work in an enterprise environment, and scaling that to an enterprise environment is a tremendous challenge.
Interesting, different challenges across everybody's organization there. A lot of these mobile applications start to employ, I think we've heard a couple of instances here, NFC and others. What companion technologies, whether it's GPS, camera, voice, augmented reality, NFC, or others, currently or will factor into your mobility solutions going forward? A little nutshell where you think it's going to come together for you?
All of it. We think all of it is important. We don't have all of it yet. We have some of it. We use GPS quite extensively, finding locations and with our package cars and your packages. Mobile wallet is very important to us, pay your bill. And augmented reality, we like, the holding up the app and where the closest location is. I forgot the name of that app, but that's all great stuff that we want to keep, pushing for and making the app more intuitive and more integrated into what people expect, so that it's not a separate transaction, but it really is part of what you do in a given day, part of the flow of your day.
I think for us, it's absolutely everything you just said. We are right there with you. Location is key for us. Location is key. Taking advantage of the camera is key. Taking advantage of everything that the user has in the palm of their hand is killer for us. The big one also as well, to kind of give you some insight as well for us, is going to be that television. I swear to God, if we could figure out how to solve that, we will own the universe, and that would be great. Okay, it would be awesome. And I consider atop a great perch at that point. But like it is really connecting the phone to the television is key for us, right? So Apple TV is wonderful, right? We could put that in there. We could absolutely have AirPlay in all of our hotel rooms. That's certainly an option for us, and certainly something we're investigating. But it's being able to connect the user, or for us, our guests, connecting the guest to anything around them, right? Whether it is UPS, right? I need to ship a package today, right? I need to be able to do that. I'm hungry. I need the local Chick-fil-A, right? Like that, all of that jazz is critical to our success.
All right, I'd be remiss, given the timing of our panel here, to ask if any of you had any particular comments on the recent announcements by Samsung and Apple. Just a quick overview. What do you think? Anything particularly excites you, distress you? Oh, somebody's itching over there. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, just real quick, the Apple announcement for our sake was yay, and we moved on. And then first time Apple stock dropped on an announcement, just saying. I'm not an Apple fanboy, sorry. I do carry an iPhone, but I hate it. I do. I wish it could do so much more that my S4 can do. Not to show my tattoo, my Samsung tattoo on my chest. But no, for us it was okay. The Apple announcement was okay. Samsung announcement is really important for us. However, Samsung's kind of going a little bit Apple-esque a little bit, where a lot of their stuff only works with Samsung devices. But we're hoping for some medium ground. I'm more interested really in Google's big announcement in October.
I think one of the hidden announcements that you mentioned NFC earlier, with Apple not adopting that's makes people wonder where the market's going, and that's part of the challenge in this space. But with Apple releasing, there's something called iBeacons, which is a Bluetooth low energy way to do something like an NFC. If you were to calibrate it down, that might be a way to have a common denominator across the platforms that can be used for micro location awareness, if you will. So I think that, coupled with the fingerprint reader, could you marry those together and the passbook, and could Apple then have a viable mobile payment solution? So I think mobile payment is something that we're all waiting to figure out how that's going to be figured out in a standard way. There's multiple standards, but that doesn't really sound standard to me. But there's apparently multiple mobile payment standards, but when two standards don't talk to each other, that's kind of not standard.